Hey, I get it when you're standing in the garage with a stack of scrap metal and a project that needs a clean cut. The idea of dropping a few $100s on a plasma cutter can feel like a gamble. You're probably asking yourself, will this actually cut through 16mm steel without turning my workshop into a fireworks show? And is the learning curve worth it for the jobs I have? The last thing you want is to end up with a machine that hums politely but can't handle the thickness you need, or one that's so finicky you spend more time tweaking settings than actually cutting. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The CUT55P from Huawei tries to position itself as a middle ground solution, a 50-amp IGBT inverter that promises a non-touch arc, high precision, and enough juice to slice through 16mm of metal. But beyond that headline, what does it really mean for someone who isn't a full-time fabricator but does need a reliable cutter now and then? Let's dig into the everyday reality of using this unit, the hidden trade-offs you might not see in the spec sheet, and who should actually consider adding it to their tool chest. First off, the user-friendly design is more than just a sleek panel. The controls are laid out with large knobs and a digital readout that shows the current amperage. For anyone who's ever been intimidated by a wall of jargon on a CNC machine, this is a breath of fresh air. I've watched a few hobbyists set it up in under 30 minutes. Unpack, hook the power cord, connect the ground clamp, and you're ready to fire. The non-touch arc feature means the torch tip doesn't have to physically touch the workpiece before the plasma ignites, which reduces wear on the nozzle and makes it easier to start a cut on a dirty or oxidized surface. In practice, that translates to smoother starts and fewer spark bursts that can ruin a clean edge. Now, the thing you really care about is how well it actually cuts. The 50-amp rating puts this cutter in the same league as many entry-level units on the market, but the IGBT inverter is the part that gives it a bit of an edge. Inverter technology provides a more stable arc, especially when you're working near the maximum 16mm thickness. In real-world tests, think cutting a piece of mild steel from a salvaged car door. You'll notice the CUT55P maintain a consistent bead without the occasional sputter you see in older, transformer-based models. The result is a cleaner cut and less post-process grinding. For a hobbyist who wants to build a custom barbecue grill or a small steel frame, that level of precision can save a good amount of time. Efficiency and time-saving are not just buzzwords here. Because the cutter can reach full power quickly, you won't be waiting for the machine to warm up like with older plasma units. The ready-to-cut feel is almost instant, which is a practical advantage if you're juggling multiple cuts or need to make a quick repair on a piece of metal piping. The airflow system is also relatively quiet for the class. It won't drown out conversation in a small workshop, making it easier to stay focused without the constant roar that some larger machines produce. But every strength comes with a trade-off, and the CUT55P is no exception. The 50-amp output caps its maximum cutting thickness at 16mm, which is fine for most DIY projects but will leave you short if you're planning to work on heavy structural steel or thick shipyard plates. Users who need to slice through 20mm or more will quickly find this cutter underpowered and may end up with ragged edges that require extensive filing. Also, while the non-touch arc helps with nozzle wear, the consumables nozzle, electrode, and shielding cup still need regular replacement. Huawei doesn't bundle these with the machine, so you should factor in the ongoing cost of spare parts. If you're hoping for a set-and-forget scenario, you'll need to budget for a new nozzle about every 40 hours of use. Another practical consideration is the power source. The CUT55P draws around 6 amps at 220V, which means you'll need a dedicated circuit or a heavy-duty extension cord if you're working out of a garage with older wiring. Some reviewers have mentioned tripping breakers when they try to run the cutter alongside other high-draw tools like welders or air compressors. If your shop's electrical setup is already near capacity, you might need to upgrade the circuit, an extra expense you didn't anticipate when you first clicked Add to Cart. Who should buy it? If you're a hobbyist, a small business owner building custom metal furniture, or a DIY enthusiast who occasionally needs to cut sheet metal, pipe, or light steel, this cutter hits a sweet spot. The ease of use, decent cutting depth, and Clean Arc make it a solid tool for anyone who values a quick turnaround and doesn't want to wrestle with complex machine settings. It's also a good entry point for people learning plasma cutting because the interface is forgiving, and the machines